Hello everybody and welcome to the George Michael Singers podcast. Thank you for listening. Hope you're enjoying the stories. Please don't forget to subscribe, but also just a little reminder that we have a show coming at the O2 Indigo on the 3rd of December. So please get your tickets, please come along and see us, and don't forget to subscribe to the George Michael Singers podcast. Thank you for listening. Mwah. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Conversations with the George Michael Singers. We've updated the studio. Well, yeah, the studio. This is my front room. Welcome to my front room. We've got an incredible guest today. Well, we're going to have quite a few guests, but this is the most special. To my way. I love you, Lola. I love you, Lola. A guest and a dog. Yeah. This is the special guest. I'm her sidekick.
It's cool. We love dogs, so.
Yeah, well, George loved dogs.
George loved dogs.
We loved her.
So, Lola, introduce yourself to what. This is Lola, everybody.
Okay.
Lola basically was the face of SARM.
SARM Studios, or SARM West. There was 4 studios in. Am I looking at there?
Yeah, or you can look at that, or you can look at us, and actually can you? Yeah.
So SARM West was a collection of studios in Portobello Road, just round the back of Portobello Road. There's 4 rooms there, and we had one in SARM East, which was the very first, and then one in Hook End Manor, which was a big residential.
Was SARM East in
Osborne Street? Yeah, Brick Lane.
Brick
If you
Lane,
carried on down Brick Lane,
that's
that
right.
turned into
That's right.
Osborne Street.
Yeah.
That was the very first one.
Okay, I didn't go to that one. Did you go to that one?
Yeah,
No,
I
I
did.
did.
Did you go to that one?
Really
Okay.
famous.
Yeah.
Like West End Girls was made down there.
Yeah.
And-
Oh,
West End Girls was made
Oh, I
there.
might have.
Yeah.
Because he
I
did
done
the Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so, anyway, so that was there. Then I came to SARM West about 1985. And I don't know, I started running it properly about 87 or something. I don't really know.
So what's your
87? Wow. No, I
Yeah.
thought it was before. I would have thought it was before that.
Well, they only owned it, because before that it was Island Studios.
That's right.
So that's where all the old Island records
yes.
were made. In the room that George used to love, which was Studio 2, records like All Right Now, and things like that were made down there. So Studio 2 was legendary, and it was the only one that didn't really change. Studio 1 had changed when we took it over.
Was Studio 2 downstairs?
That's where George did everything.
Yeah,
that's where we
got the
recorded
kitchen
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew the kitchen.
But I remember recording. It must have been upstairs because when we did Johnny Douglas and we did.
Yeah.
So did Johnny Douglas have his studio upstairs?
Yeah, so he
then?
had
So
one
would he go
upstairs.
between the two?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
I always thought that studio was owned by Trevor Hall.
Yeah, it was. So
Oh, it was?
Trevor and
Okay.
Jill.
Yeah.
Because he done Seal there as well.
Yeah. So Trevor bought it from Island Records. Trevor and Jill bought it from Island Records back in the day. So when I joined, I remember, because my sister used to be married to one of the guys in Yes. And I remember, which is a big old...
God, I know. Yeah.
So I remember walking around that studio, going to visit Chris in the studio and walking around the reception area, because before it was like that, it was the whole of the organisation was in that building. Perfect Songs and ZTT were upstairs where Studio 4 ended up.
Right. Okay.
And all the other accounts and studio manager were all downstairs where the pool table ended up.
exactly.
In those little sections, those groovy little sections of
It was
offices.
such a vibe.
Yeah, so and I remember wandering around there thinking, I wouldn't mind working here. Didn't think about it again. And then one day my sister, who I'd met Jill a couple of times, and Jill is Trevor's wife.
Okay.
Trevor Horn's wife.
Yeah.
And because Trevor joined Yes for a little while, once you get me going on this story.
That's what we were
Yeah.
So,
I didn't know that.
No, I
Trevor was a
didn't.
massive. My sister's husband's a guy called Chris Squire, bass player, amazing bass player.
Did he produce Yes as well? Or?
Well, he did in the end. He did An Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Oh, he did that.
He
Of course he did.
was-
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
That was a track.
But before that, he actually joined the band because he was a big Chris Squire fan. Trevor's a bass player, and any bass player holds somebody like Chris in high school.
Yeah.
He's truly was a genius. And So I'd met Jill a few times when Trevor took over the vocals for Yes. Because John Anderson, it's a long time ago now. And anyway, they needed somebody at SARM. To assist the studio manager. And I'd met Jill before, I was like, and she was, as any tough woman, tough, but she was tough, but
you have to be.
yeah, I think you have to. She was, but she was always fair. She was so gorgeous.
She was always fair.
Yeah. And I went to meet her, and then, funnily enough, her brother used to live next door to a girlfriend of mine, and I'd met her brother completely separately. And hung out and had a giggle with him, and then I had this great interview with Jill. We just met each other on our own and just clicked. Right. And she said, "I'm thinking of giving Nikki Squire's little sister a job. What shall I do?" And he said, "Do it. She's a good girl."
So that job?
Yeah, that was at the interview. Just when I went to the studio. Are you listening, Joe?
I am listening, but I'm just trying to understand. So you went for an interview?
I went for an interview with Jill.
Right.
But I'd already met her brother. I'd already known
Right,
Jill,
fine,
but I didn't know her very well.
Cool.
So then when I went in and just met her one-on-one, we just completely clicked.
Right.
And then I started there and I ran it for like nearly 17 years.
Oh my God, I know. You were just like,
So
everyone knows Lola.
Half of her.
That's what I was about to say. So Lola, but it doesn't sound very nice when you say someone's part of furniture. But when you think of SARM West and you go into SARM West, everybody knows Lola.
I'm just trying to think.
So when anyone goes to SARM West, or because it's no longer open anymore, when did it shut down?
No, it closed. I left in 2001, and I think I ended up being back in the building because I was working with someone who had an office in there. The 365 Artists, my mate Adam, and he had a producer management company, managing some of the lads I'd given their jobs to back in the day. And also managing some of my old clients like Steve Anderson Brothers and Rhythm and all that. Anyway, so I was working there, and but by that time, George wasn't there. He wasn't there. I think he was doing a lot more up at Air.
Yeah, that's right. So what year did he stop recording then at SARM?
I don't know.
Because I know he loved that little room, didn't he, up in Air Studios?
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I know that I think soon after he was fuming.
Yeah,
right.
So when did we do?
Well, we definitely did
Outside.
Outside was on the. Listen Without Prejudice?
No.
Not Listen Without Prejudice. Ladies and Gentlemen.
So he'd already done Older and everything, so that must have been one of the last things that he was
Alright, so Order was done in there?
Sorry?
Older was done in SARM,
Older
yeah.
done
That's
in
how
SARM.
that's
So he didn't work with Wayne then? It was just
The first time I worked with George, which was when we did Father Figure, which was the first
was that in
album.
SARM?
Faith was,
Oh, so Faith was the first album
we
George
recorded
did.
some of Faith in some place in Stockholm. I think he did something there. And then I think he came and did the rest of it in SARM. So he was there from...
What year was that then?
I don't know what year.
He just always seems to be one of
Yeah, and Listen Without Prejudice.
Between him and the Pet Shop Boys, they pretty much lived.
Yes.
They lived, yeah.
Another producer called Julia Mendelsohn, because we'd have clients that came back all the time, but then you'd have producers that were there. So they'd bring lots of other clients.
Yeah. So Johnny was pretty much there for a good 2 or 3 years.
Or maybe even more.
Really?
Yeah.
I never even knew there was an upstairs to start.
That was the room that used to be when I first started. That used to be, I think that used to be perfect on the publishing and maybe even ZTT. So then everybody started to spread out, and we bought the building next door, and the record company and the publishing company went next door, and we turned that into a studio. So we had 4 rooms.
That's right.
That's not how it was. And Studio 1 that was upstairs was massive. And I think that's where records like Houses of the Holy were made and stuff like that.
Was Slave to the Rhythm done?
Oh yeah, when I first started,
Was that-
there, every studio door you'd open, it was every room was working on that.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and it still just sounds so great.
Every room was
working on that
Yeah, well, it was Trevor, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it didn't quite
Wow.
feel like it at the time.
Right, okay.
Why is this song on like
Everywhere you went, you know, it was, and we had the synclavier, which was a big old machine at some point, amazing, yeah. And it was this big, the brains of the synclavier took 4 men to move it. It was about that size of those chest of drawers, and again, but it was heavy. And they'd move it around the studios, and I'd be sitting at my desk like this, watching. Just don't know how people did that. Honestly,
Oh no!
it was quite hair raising, but it was an amazing album, and it was all about that. That's when that must have been around the same time when I started. I mean, somebody's going to Google all this. And find
You know,
it.
and then you'll say you were wrong about that. All the dates. Yeah, the dates may.
Don't quote us on the dates and stuff like that. We're just sort of trying to unpack memories.
Yeah, it is. It's unpacking.
Wasn't Lola's theme written about you?
Yes.
There was a song. Does anyone remember Lola's theme?
Do I?
I'm a different person.
I asked her to sing it.
I know. She told me this story. Why didn't you sing it to her?
I don't know.
I don't want to commit to tape.
Well, do you know what I have to say? It's probably one of, like sometimes you make a bad decision.
Was that one of them?
That was definitely one of them.
Yeah, but what was the? Why did
So
you do it?
Lola asked me to do it, and at this stage I was like, no, I'm in my songwriting. I'm in my songwriting phase.
A billion streams later.
Who wrote
I know.
those?
So I was with my husband at the time. We were married. Yeah, we were married. By that time we were married. And I played him a sample of one of my old favourite songs called What About My Love by Johnny Taylor.
Right.
He flew across the sitting room. We were working with a band. I'd left the studio. He was managing. We were managing a couple of artists or a band. And anyway, he heard this sample and he went into the studio with one of the people from one of the artists that we were working with, and they took that sample. And there's another bit. I'm a different person.
Yeah.
But that came from a song when I'm a different person since you came into my life. You turn my world around, and that was by a guy called Anthony. Google it. I should know this. I do know it. It's
just got.
And anyway, so they went in and did that for me.
Nate James originally was the original vocalist. Do you remember? Was it Nate James that sung it originally?
Nate James did some of this thing, but the original thing.
Yeah, the original.
Was a lady called Sylvia Macura, because where we thought Anthony had written it. Then we completely sampled it innocently. We paid for everything, and then Sylvia came out literally out of the woodwork saying it's my vocal, and so we had a whole.
Oh, so then you had to. So you had to redo the vocal, and is that when you asked? Yeah.
And I.
Oh no! By this time, we were put. By this time, it all got signed, and we put top line on it. And the top line needed someone to sing it.
Yeah.
Big mistake, and I should have done that.
Because it was a huge song.
That's like George asked me to get in the shower scene for the Fast Love video. Yeah. Oh no, I couldn't put on my body. No, I couldn't possibly. And that's two bad decisions.
Well, you need to. We'll have you singing Lola to me in the shower, and then we'll.
So I film it. My time's coming. My time's coming. I won't catch up.
We'll film it later, and then you can.
No regrets. I can end up like a counselling session.
What was someone that came into the studio that maybe you thought was just like a really great artist, but maybe they didn't live up to that expectation?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I couldn't say any individuals. It wouldn't be professional.
Okay.
But what I generally used to find was the bigger the arsehole, the less the talent, the bigger the arsehole.
That does
absolutely
through life.
That's so true.
People, people.
So you had quite a few of them.
And obviously George Michael was your favourite.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, George and the Pet Shop Boys, they were up there. I mean, George would come in every morning, dive straight under my desk to say hello to Jezebel, the studio dog, and well, my dog. And you know, he was just pretty low maintenance in that respect. You know, we got looked after. We were a good studio as well.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got up
yeah.
with any old
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. I mean, he used to like book that studio, and I mean, I've been in there a ton of times where he's just called you in, and then you just sit in the lounge area, and then you actually never do anything.
Did he call Julie, not me? He called called one in.
Yes,
yeah,
to do a session.
Yeah, well,
and then you'd go to the sessions, but then he either wouldn't turn up, or you'd just be like sitting there going, what are we actually doing? But you know, so he just booked the studio.
Yeah, he would book it
for like weeks at a time. Or?
Yeah, he'd book. You know, they'd come in. Siobhan used to work for him, or Michelle, the later years, and they'd book it. And you never like charging people cancellation fees, no matter who they are. Nobody really likes it.
Yeah.
You know, they're a regular client somewhere. But at the end of the day, so when sometimes if George used to do a late cancellation, I don't think I ever charged him. But what it got to the point was I said to him, look, phone the office and say, look, you've got this week or whatever. Somebody else has come in for it. I'm quite happy to tell them to go away. But if I do and you don't have it, then I am going to have to charge you because we're talking about money. Yeah. But for the most part, if he had held it and nobody wanted to come in for it, I never used to charge him. I don't actually think in reality I ever did charge him. You know, we've been paid us, thousands.
Yeah, of course.
I was wondering, did George have a favourite time of the day where we'd want to record or write? Or
I think if I remember, it was always a bit later. I mean, yeah. So he'd come in a bit later. Sometimes I think he'd chuck the boys out and do his own vocals in the studio.
Yeah,
that's
very true.
He just likes to be in there on his own and do his thing.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, there was one time that he asked me to come and record, and it was I didn't know what it was until I arrived there because he was just in total shock. But it was when the Twin Towers had gone into and we were going to record Shoot the Dog.
Oh.
I mean, he just couldn't. I mean, it was just like, so we were like, I just remember we were just sitting watching the TV just over and over. Obviously, I didn't end up recording because it was just so horrific. But it was just so incredible how on the money he was politically.
Yes.
He was so knowledgeable and he was so interested in politics, and he used to get so passionate about it. And I think if he was alive today, I think he'd be.
He said he'd be probably good prime minister. He would be a few.
In today's life, he would be, wouldn't he? He would have something to say.
And he'd be vocal about it. What I loved about George is he was so vocal about things that were.
Which means he would have been cancelled.
Well, how many times was it cancelled? George was cancelled that many times. He wouldn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit because he knew that, and that's what I love. He was just such a true artist.
Yeah.
And there's just there is still loads around, I suppose. But I mean, I just think that if he was alive today, he would be getting stuck in and getting involved and having something to say about this. It's just because it's just.
Is that kind
madness. Yes. Have you got like a favourite memory of George from the studio or something that sticks out, a funny story or sad story? Or
I don't know, little things that we would talk about if there'd been a part in the house, and they'd generally be us lot, the rubble.
Yeah. To me, when George used to have amazing parties, by the way.
Over the last one.
And me and you can guarantee George was never there at the parties. Was he?
He'd be upstairs chatting away.
He'd be upstairs, and then you knew that he was coming down late. So all the sober lot would leave early.
And they'd be
hence why me and you.
He'd have just in a kind of shirt, like a burgundy shirt, baseball cap, Diet Coke.
Yeah.
He'll never know I stopped his house burning down. Everybody was in the garden. It was one of the nights at Highgate. And everyone was in the garden, and I was upstairs talking to somebody, and he'd had all these flowers and stuff all around him. He loved a cat. And this thing had just fallen. There was nobody else. I'd say the house burned down. It would have been quite a fire.
Yeah.
Because we were just up there chatting, and then suddenly the whole bloody things started to
Arrangement
fall
went
apart.
over.
Yeah,
Good job. Was that when it was late at night when most people had
No,
gone?
most people were in the garden. It was a
Oh.
summery thing. It was a summery thing. I've got pictures of that night, and so that must be the night I'm thinking of when we were all in the kitchen giving it a post-match review afterwards.
Is that the epic toilet one?
No, that was at the country place.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that sounds a bit seedy. Very
We've got a
innocent.
really funny story.
Very innocent. No, I just couldn't stop weeing.
And I don't know how, but I was in the loo with Lola, we were chatting away.
And she said, come, and then I said, no, I've got more. And then
And
we
it
started
went on and on.
And Marco's outside the door banging on the door. Marco was the chef.
The chef.
And
you
Sam,
should
so
talk to Marco because he's got some lovely tea.
It's Marco
So
that did the wedding.
Marcus, the one I got married
Yeah.
to, he's doing and making all these daisy chains, and then he put it on my head, and then so then when we decided to get married, Marco's gay, by the way, so we didn't I can't remember who married us, but
And where was the wedding? Was this
It was in
George's garden? Is this in Highgate?
Back in the bushes.
I love that house in Highgate though. That was
This
wasn't it lovely?
this was Goring, this was in Goring,
Goring.
but the house of
Well, the
Highgate
house,
was
well, the
beautiful.
house in Goring was
Yeah.
beautiful too.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think my favourite house was his house in Hampstead.
Oh, the one, the white.
Yeah, the one
Well,
that
it's a funny shape.
His mum used to clean. Yeah.
Yeah, the frog, was it in Froglong?
Yeah,
Still
from
there.
there.
Is it?
I don't know. Is
Yeah.
he still back?
No,
the
I
estate
think
still have it?
no, I don't.
No,
think
no,
so.
I don't think
because
it's
they had
a-
another one, didn't they, in Regent's
Oh, God,
Park?
yeah.
No, that's gone.
No, because
Yeah.
someone trashed that, didn't they?
Yeah.
But all his homes, though, although I mean, I guess
One in
like-
Dallas is nice as well.
What?
One house that they had in Dallas.
Oh, that was lovely.
I never went there.
That was it. But the thing
Oh,
is,
that would have been with Kenny.
yeah. But the thing is, with the houses, although Highgate, I guess, was the biggest
Yeah.
house, but even though it was a big house, it didn't seem big. Like the way
Yeah,
the way
it was really
little
cozy,
the rooms,
wasn't
and you
it?
go
Yeah,
upstairs, and
yeah.
there's all little rooms, and like the kitchens were always nice. And
Yeah.
like Dallas, the house wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, you think, oh, they were
He
great.
was telling
house,
me
but
when
they
he'd
didn't. It
when
was-
he'd get locked out of Highgate, he was always getting locked out. And he'd have to knock on the next door house.
and climb over.
And climb over.
No way.
And there'd be all these kids that lived next door. There's these youngsters for a few quid or whatever.
Oh,
And
right. He didn't have keys.
They'd all be, it's just funny. They've got George Michael scaling down the wall.
That's because he could never remember the code to
He
get
did
in.
used to find himself. Sorry, he did used to find it funny how people. He knew that he was George Michael, but not
Yeah.
that I'm George Michael.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just that
yeah.
knowing that
Yeah.
people are going to find it. Like when he had to do this, what is it you'd have to do? Your community
Community
service
service,
thing
right,
in
yeah.
America.
Yeah.
And he had
Yeah,
to
do the cooking.
Yeah, no, I don't. I remember him telling me having to come down and sit down next to this girl doing the computer, and she's like, you know, and he's just getting on with it. But he appreciated what a mindfuck that must have been.
Yeah, totally.
For
He had
other
a
people.
wicked sense of
Yeah.
humour.
He's sitting there watching EastEnders, and Bianca thought that he might be her dad in the programme.
Yeah.
And we just have a giggle about that. Or when I've got loads of little things, and it's nice to sit and chat because you kind of.
Yeah, it's nice to
Yeah.
reminisce.
Well, this is the whole point of why we're kind of doing what
But
we do.
I
It's
remember
like-
going into the kitchen one night, and he was there, and he was signing a lot of things for the office.
Right, yeah.
And I just sat down, and we were having a chat, and I said, "But George, what about doing Radio Gaga to all those people when you did the Queen?
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
got cold
yeah,
feet."
yeah.
I said, "What a moment that must have been."
Yeah.
And, that whole thing that that somebody said, "I don't know that." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "But I think of how it must have been for the Beatles at Shea Stadium." I went, "What are you like?"
Oh, no.
There's a way, so
He's humble, that's
yeah,
why. It was
yeah.
it was just you spend time with George. He was just a normal. He was just a normal guy.
Well, Nippy would shit in the hallway at SARM. And I
Every
found him down. I'd go, "She's shat in the hallway." I said, "I'm thinking of put it on eBay, celebrity dog shit." I think someone would probably buy it. He's down the phone laughing his head off.
That's all right. I got him back because when I got Mavis. Do you remember my dog Mavis?
No.
The little. I found.
You found Mavis?
Yeah, I found Mavis. She was abandoned, and we'd. I took. It was the day that George's mum got buried, and we found this dog. Me and Elliot. Do you remember my boyfriend at the time?
Yes, I've got Elliot's sort of inadvertently in my house because there's a picture of me and George at the Cowboy and Angels party.
Oh, yeah.
And George is kissing me on the cheek. I've got my wings on and my hair's all curly and everything. And Elliot, now I've got to take technology, I could smudge him out. No offence, Elliot. It is a
That's what you do to your exes.
No, look, she'd want to do that. She would be better.
If he was
anybody in the
yes.
background. Elliot or anybody, sorry.
Talking about anyway, so this dog, we found this little puppy, didn't realise what it was, but anyway, we found the puppy, went and got some like puppy food, and went down to the wake where George was with his father and blah blah blah, and he fell in love with this puppy, mate, and we ended up we named the dog. Well, he ended up naming the dog, and he used to come around every single day to get her. And this was at the time when he had this studio in the Swan Yard. Was it not Swan Yard? What was it in Highgate?
I never went there.
Did you never go there? That's right.
Is that where you were?
What was it called? Swan Yard.
That was another place.
That's a different
So
studio.
this was an office where his offices
Oh,
were.
I know.
In
Yeah.
Highgate.
Called Swan Yard. I remember. God, it was a nightmare backing out.
Yeah, it was a courtyard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember anyway, it was a courtyard and I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, and it was brand new, beautiful offices. Anyway, so he'd come around every day to come and get this puppy, Mavis. And like she'd obviously, she's a puppy. And there wasn't a gardener apart from, and he'd take her out every 5 minutes for a pee. So by the end of about 6 weeks, there was literally piss stains all over this like cream carpet. But he didn't care.
Yeah.
He just didn't care. He loved dogs, didn't he?
He really did. Little hippie.
Oh, I know. Hippie was
then
so
there was
cute.
Mo. Hippie was the main.
I was going to say I didn't know Mo as well.
They were like,
he wasn't
yeah.
being gory. Hippie was just, and
No.
when you've got one anyway, they kind of tend to hang. He's probably not going to bring two to the studio.
Yeah.
Mo was more based out in Goring or
Yeah.
whatever, but Hippie was always around.
Hippie
Was that
always
But someone that wears
He was always in the studio. Hippie was
got a Labrador.
I don't think he did like that. He only ever had Labrador. He did like other dogs,
Oh,
but
right,
he
okay.
used to bring Hippie to when we were in
Yeah, no, yeah.
Have you got pictures
Photograph.
of George? Do you know what? Because we were saying that we just haven't got. No one took their cameras around with
Do
him.
you know
did they?
we've
We're
got
like,
phones now, right? So
Yeah.
we'd be if you're in the studio,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
take pictures, but we
didn't
didn't
do that.
do that.
so all these memories, I've got like
limited
3 pictures of me and George.
Have you got
And
a lot
no
of
proof.
pictures?
I found one. Do you remember when he had his 40th and he did a barn dance?
No.
Was it a barn dance? He did something, I don't know where it was, we all got collected in a coach. And there was hay everywhere. Everybody was there.
Was I there?
I can't
remember, can you?
Dawn French
Wow.
was there, Paul Rutherford. I remember loads
No,
of
I
people.
think that must have been before my time. No, was that around when he was in Wham?
No,
When he left
I've
Wham?
got hysterical.
No, what year was that?
His
His
40th.
40th. So it was.
Would it have been, hang on a second, it might have been his 30th.
Yeah, I would have. Well, I wouldn't have. Oh, I don't know.
Was it,
Well, obviously we're rubbish with time.
Google it.
Anyway, so
I found a picture of us because we all had to get dressed up. I wasn't particularly dressed up. I'm not
What
very
was George
imaginative.
dressed as?
Oh, George had a big silver wig on and stuff, and I found a picture.
Oh,
of
I think I've seen a picture of that in the wig.
And I remember Marco had this like red and white little check shirt and his flares so much that came up and that flared out. And I remember me and Marco rocking around Primrose Hill after we got dropped around back in the coach. But yeah, so that was. But yeah, I've got some little pictures.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got a lovely picture of him and Jez. The one of us at the Cowboy and Angel can't.
Would you
do
mind,
Shirley's.
like, just taking a
That'd be
picture of
good, yeah,
them?
because then we could add
We
it
could
to
add
the-
them to the.
That's
Yeah,
a good idea.
that's
Sure,
all right.
yeah.
Do you know what? When I was in the car, I was thinking. I mean, I've got them on my phone.
Yeah, just take.
Oh, great, we take a screenshot.
Perfect. Just screen
Yeah.
or just send it to
Yeah,
me.
well, I've got a couple on my phone.
That's
I
fine.
find things I didn't
Because,
even know. I had,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got any studio ones, but that one that was in Goring when you married Marco,
Yeah.
and we were in the toilet with the, you know,
Doing lots of
it's
things.
William. That Johnny Douglas was at that party, so that must have been the beginning of their relationship. Cause
Johnny's a oh my.
Didn't Johnny meet him at SARM when he was doing Lisa Morris?
Yeah.
So what happened there? Johnny's got. So basically,
We are going to interview Johnny.
yeah. Johnny
Yeah.
Johnny came down to me at my desk one day because they were upstairs with Lisa Morris doing our version of I'm Your
Yes,
Man.
right, yeah.
And he came down to me and he said, "Do you think George would do backing vocals?"
But he met George before.
No, he'd seen him in the studio and he didn't know him well enough because SARM was quite. It was big, but we didn't have very many communal areas, so people were forced to.
That's
sort
it.
of-
Yeah. In that one bit, it was actually not that big.
Nobody had private sitting rooms
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
They could just, so people were either playing pool, hanging out, watching a bit of telly. That little area outside Studio
There's
2.
two, exactly.
Yeah.
Thursday night, top of the pops.
Yeah.
And also, can we just say Marco's food?
Yeah, Mark.
Oh my god. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So yeah, we'd all watch. Anyway, so Johnny said to me, "Do you think you asked him if he'll do backing vocals?" I said, "I can't do that because that's, I can't put him on the spot like that. This is so complete, this is a safe space."
Yeah.
I said, "What I'll do is I'll phone the office and then if George wants to come up, he'll come up. If he doesn't, he doesn't." And then that's exactly what I said. I think that might have been even Michelle at the time.
So what, you just
And I
asked
said,
Michelle, doesn't
look,
want to come
I
on?
said, "Look, that's what they're doing. They'd like him to do backing vocals, but if he just wants to blank back, then he just blanks.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no
Yeah.
comeback." And then he was up there. Johnny says he had some T-shirts that said something like "I'm Your Man" on it, like the old Frankie Rack one.
Yeah.
But basically, I think the initial thing was he came to me and asked me if George would do, and I wouldn't ask him directly. Because I didn't want to
Yeah,
put
that's
him
a
up.
bit of a limit.
And then, of course, George being old nosy nuts was up there.
It's so nosy. Beyond that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had to know everybody.
They all did, yeah. So yeah, I loved that. The next thing, and that's so fast love came from that.
Yeah.
So
Well, they must have then met, got on, because Johnny was, honestly, he used to have me in stitches.
Yeah.
He's so funny. And they must, we just used to have such a giggle. Such a giggle.
Yeah. So that's and that's what as well happened when you had a complex of studios like that. People could meet and interact, or somebody would come out and it'd just be with everyone.
It's mad because it's so different now, because like so many kids. I mean, I remember taking this. Gable, my son, he had a friend of his, a rapper called Sykes. He's brilliant. And he said, "Mum, can you give him a little leg up?" So I paid for him to go to the studio, thinking. So I would have the big bag, like a bottle of wine and a bottle of this, and because that's what you used to go to the studio, and it'd be like an epic evening. He went with his bottle of Evian. He recorded like 4 tracks in an hour. And I was like, I'll take the wine home then. Because it's like, that's what you used to do. It's such a sort of social. When you used to go to the studio, you were there a long time, and there was people.
I mean, there was not much. We didn't have. We were in a studio that had a bar. There was no bar.
No.
But there was always good for what people got up to in their control room.
It's their business.
It was all in the studio.
Stays there.
What goes on tour stays on tour.
Exactly.
It's a call of the road.
Yeah. So but I mean, God. But 17 years. There's a lot.
Well, you must write a book, Lola.
Yes, you should
must write a book.
Yeah, I mean, people have said
You
that
have
there's a lot of really superb studios that have been, we're legendary studios like SARM, like the Townhouse.
Yeah.
Sadly, I was at the funeral of Barbara Jeffries yesterday, who ran the Townhouse for many years and was also involved in the Olympics. She's only 76. But then there's Yeah, but you know, a lot of it you can't repeat anyway.
It's so true.
A lot of it you
I
can't
know,
repeat. But what
it's-
I do have, which is
You have to
really,
edit.
You have to be clever
what
about
I'm
how you
really
present
relieved
it.
about is when I left the studio, I left all the studio diaries in what we called the plate room, where the echo plates were and get all the revert and stuff. And I'd left them all. I was tempted to take them, and I thought, because I thought I'll keep them
It'd
safe.
be great to have the diaries.
Where
to
are
see
the
who's
diaries?
in there?
I'm going to tell you. So anyway,
This is an exclusive.
So I left them, be really big rushing. I'd left them all in chronological order, and I walked away from. But they were like my little babies, and you know they were like the old Collins A4.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, they were this fat,
Yeah.
stuck up with gaffer tape and all sorts, stickers all over.
How
them.
cool of you.
And anyway, I left them. And then over the years, people went in, tidied up, did things. People do, but this time, people A didn't care and B didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, of
Anyway,
Well, that's what they're doing things on that.
yeah. And I
forgot to write.
Computer, and
Yeah.
So
Right.
also for me, I would remember things. If I've written something down,
Yeah.
I can't remember it. So I could phone up the studio or whatever and say, right, can you tell, I need this guy's number, I've written it in the top left-hand
Right,
corner,
yeah, you
and
know
it's in
exactly
dark
what it
pencil,
is.
always in pencil.
Yeah.
You know, and while you're on the phone, you'd be like, can't have food, manager's a bit of a dick, start talking. And anyway, so I'd asked for them back when the studio was closing down. I'd asked for them back, or something like. Anyway, they went on the massive missing list. Trevor's assistant, she came staggering up my garden path and there was loads of plastic boxes. And the minute I opened it, I knew they weren't mine because they were all barely used.
Oh, right, okay.
But there was one in there from '94, and you open it, it's got studio to GM. And then Seal, Pet Shop Boys, I don't know, whatever, all the artists that have been into the studio were all in my handwriting and little notes.
Did it say what he was recording? Where you got GM, it didn't say
Oh,
that.
no, you wouldn't.
Would you say like, oh, hippie shut on the floor on this particular day?
Hippie shit out. No, it wasn't that. But anyway, so there was one in there, which I don't know how random that was. Anyway, a few months ago, Trevor and I went to see Hook In because it's been a bit abandoned. The people that bought it, let it go. But now they're all refurbing it and it's all looking good and da-da-da.
As a studio?
And the guy said to me, oh, I've got something of yours. And he came in with this great diaries. All of them. So they're all back together in my house. I know. So I was so pleased.
Absolutely.
That's
I mean,
history,
so
right?
yeah, real.
That
Yeah.
is-
I mean, although
Wow.
you know, some of it, you know, it's you just open the page and it's literally Seal, Picture, or it's Trevor, you know, all the things that went on.
But that's like,
That's
that's where you need to start.
Yeah, well, that's what Trevor was saying. I've also got, because in those days you had your studio diary, which was just for the bookings, and then you had your own personal diary with lots of. I used to use a time planner that you put in 3 months of paper of dates at a time. So then after what you'd get for, and you'd use it up, and then you'd transfer numbers over that you'd never got and put in your book or your sign organiser. Remember that?
Five facts.
So then, do you remember one of the sharp ones? Oh my god!
Oh, I really remember that.
Anyway, so I've got all of those from those times, and I've got all my.
Well, so when they do a documentary about SARM,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
they're using that. I'm
Yeah.
telling you though, they would use it. That's the incredible.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many other studio managers have got their actual studio diaries from
Absolutely.
you know, all the Frankie stuff, all of this, all the some
Yeah.
legendary.
Yeah.
records.
Legendary. I mean, that is, please.
I mean, when you look at them, when you just pick, you go, because they're all in my guest room and they're just all lined up in a big bookcase or the glamour. But when you look at them, you know, you might open the page, it doesn't, you know. But then I took one to my mate Robin Hancock, who was one of my producers at the time, when it ended up working with Madonna and da-da-da. Now owns a few restaurants, right brothers restaurants. And I just got back this day, and I just picked up one, and there's we call him Bean, Robin Hancock. I said, "Here, Bean, look at this," and it's got, Bean and Bean, and I'd always put the engineer, producer, and the assistant, and so everybody was working. And at the beginning of the session, you'd have more info,
that's it.
The gear was turning up, whatever, and then it was just the eyes on it, And do you remember the board in reception?
Yeah.
See, I'd forgotten about that. We used to have a great big whiteboard every week. I would put, so it wouldn't be public facing, it just was as people came in, it was to the side, so everybody the reception could look up and see.
And see it was.
Yeah.
I used to have them, what's that rehearsal place that everyone used to use at Olympia?
Was it?
No Miss.
Bloody hell, I wouldn't have that well done with that. I'd have known.
No Miss, they did.
No Miss, yeah. Remember that? Did you ever?
Of course.
Rehearse it?
Is that where we rehearsed
cover to cover to
Yeah, that was that's gone.
Where is it again? It's fine. Is it Olympia? It's in the back of Olympia.
That was that was a place.
Yeah. And then did it change to Sanctuary? Was that the same building?
I think it did. Yeah,
it did. The same building.
And it's all there now, though, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it's. I mean, it's all changed around there. It's all changed everywhere.
Yeah, where we were talking about. It must have been. That was it. I was talking to Alan Winstanley, that saw him at Barbara's funeral, who produced all the Madness stuff and all the Morrissey stuff. We did at the Langer and Winstanley. We used to on West Side, around the corner. Remember West Side? Yeah. And they sold it to Sanctuary, and it's now Monsoon's delivery.
So I remember Sanctuary.
But where we were laughing because at West Side, if we had a big string section, we'd loan each other chairs. So their West Side would send us their chairs, and someone on Tipex would write, "Come to West Side." So then we'd send them, we'd scratch off the side. Come to SARM West. And there's always this to and fro of all the chairs between the studios. Listen, I do miss the studios. I love
the interaction.
Yes, helping people. Asking people about and helping people make records. I'm good at that.
Yeah, it's a creative space, and it's just
it's a nice mood.
It's sorry, like you just don't want to stop. What do we do with our lives when we stop doing what we've been doing?
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Conversations with the George Michael Singers. It's been lovely, Lola. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that episode of Conversations with the George Michael Singers. We really hope you learned a little bit more about George Michael. Keep listening, keep following us. There's lots more to come.